Welcome Pisces to your in-depth monthly horoscope for July 2024 for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. On the screen now I'm showing your event chart right at the start of the month, which provides some very important pointers on what's going to unfold, but also it does provide a backdrop for the whole of July. Now we need to be mindful of your two rulers. Neptune continues just in your sign, and also Jupiter, your traditional ruler, is in your fourth house, very much to do with how you feel about things, where you live, family matters. But Jupiter, of course, can be a very buoyant, optimistic influence. But the key is that Jupiter's forging a very sweet relationship to both the Moon in Taurus, but also to the Sun in Cancer. And they too are linked perfectly in a sextile. So as you come into this month, your dialogue, which is governed by House 3, has the Moon, Mars and Uranus, which is very energetic and perceptive. But we also have in House 5, which is very much to do with showcasing your talents, joys and pleasures of life. We have the Sun, we have Venus and we have Mercury. And those three players in Taurus are linking in absolute synchronicity with the three players in Cancer. Earthy energy is very supportive to watery energy. And of course, the other thing that you can take from the energy in the sign of Cancer is that shares your water triplicity. And you can see that your other ruler, Neptune, is in such a gorgeous link with Mercury at the start of this month. So if you want to be imaginative, self-expressive, get together with people that you enjoy being with. You may even decide to invite them round to your place with Jupiter, the kingpin, and really buoyant for you in that fourth house. But you've also got Saturn, which has been asking some big questions of you over the last year and a quarter, forging a lovely alliance with Venus through the first week of this month. The things that you fought hard to preserve and the things that you've jettisoned because they no longer serve your greater good have been helped by Saturn's journey in your sign. But there may have been times when you have felt more inhibited, perhaps lower on vitality, and perhaps even quite frustrated by how things aren't moving. But the link between the position of Saturn and Venus is very solid. If there is someone that you're connecting with in a meaningful way, you know, whether it's a friend, whether it is through an interest, whether it's a colleague or romantically, all of these energies look very, very prodigious for you. Because they are very much in the southern hemisphere of the chart. We've only got Pluto in the north, and that's locked away in house 12. It's quite deep and psychological. So there may still be a sense that you're very much connected to what's going on in the depths of your being rather than how you're connecting to the wider world. And, you know, that's understandable. You are going to have a bit of a shift when on the 25th, Mercury makes its way across your 7th house cusp, which could be important for a relationship towards the end of this month. But it doesn't mean to say you can't have a relationship in the early part of the month. It's just it will be deeply personal to you. You're less concerned with your interaction to the wider world. It's all much more close and intimate in terms of how you're responding. Now, on the 2nd of the month, Mercury makes its way into Leo. So Mercury is going to go through 3 zodiac signs this month. Firstly, the sign of Cancer, then Leo, then Virgo. And that move into Leo for you is the 6th house. But let's think about it. Mercury rules the sign of Virgo, which echoes that 6th house energy. It's about precision, it's about details, but it goes face to face with Pluto. If you work in an environment where you have to be very precise in what you do, and you have to make sure that records are kept, that you log things, there may be software that helps you to support that. But that attention to detail is a big part of the processes that you manage. Just be aware of making sure that you don't let your concentration slip for 1 minute, because Pluto in the 12th house suggests that someone's watching and observing who may not be your greatest fan, and they may seize on any oversight with a relish. Just be conscious of that. But then in a more positive way, Mercury moving into the 6th house suggests that some of the creativity that's manifest in your chart at the start of this month, you can start to use Mercury's precision to start to deploy it in a way that gives you some kind of tangible return. Very important. But then on the 5th, we have the new moon. But it's the most gorgeous new moon potentially of the whole year, excluding your own, because it's in your 5th house, which is where we can demonstrate warmth, affection, joy, embrace life's pleasures. And of course, the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon. So this is a lovely new moon opportunity for you to showcase everything that is enriching for you in the following 4 weeks. If your life has felt a little bit too self-sacrificing at times over a long period, perhaps you've been caught up in supporting others, this is your chance to give yourself permission to have some pleasure, whether it's going out with a friend for dinner, whether it's going to have a bit of a dance somewhere to some loud music, going to watch a band, letting your hair down a little bit, Pisces. Give yourself permission to play. It could be a consideration around finance because the nodal axis T-squares this event. And also it's important not to be too reckless with resources. The 5th house can be about where we speculate. In other words, it's the sector of chance. The French saying, bon chance, good luck. So the 5th house is where we can risk a bit to get a bit. But if you are thinking of having a little bit of a splurge on something, just be aware the nodal axis is asking you to make sure you can truly afford it. But on the 12th, Venus joins up with Mercury in Leo. If you recall, Venus was in Leo last year for a long period of time and 4 months, and that was because of the retrograde. And it's possible that you did develop some kind of connection to someone through your work, maybe romantically, or maybe you encountered someone in a very practical location, but did it actually go anywhere or not? It may have done. You get a chance to repeat the process this year, but through Venus's normal journey. So the following 3 or 4 weeks gives you a chance to really use your charm and people skills, but also your appreciation of helping other people. It's probably one of your greatest gifts. The problem with your greatest gift, Pisces, is you tend to be too good at it and therefore can spend a lot of your time in the process of sacrificing, whether it's in a practical way or a spiritual and emotional way, which can dissolve your sense of identity because you get given out. You do too much. So you've got an opportunity with Mercury and Venus and the Sun from the 22nd to get the right tipping point between that give to other people and being very caring. But certainly Venus here suggests around professional relationships, your thoughtfulness will likely be noted, but it also suggests that in a romantic relationship, if there has been something that's been bubbling away in the background, perhaps to do with who contributes what on the domestic front, and it hasn't really been aired, it could be around week 2 of this month. And you might find it actually quite hurtful if someone sees something differently. But if you are a lover of animals, a new furry friend could be coming your way in the following weeks. The 20th, however, sees Mars move into the sign of Gemini. If something's been stuck that you've been working towards around a shift in your living arrangements, perhaps completion on a property purchase or a rental or a renovation, you've been waiting for contractors to turn up, Mars arriving here is going to see absolutely determined to get this moving, and you're going to have a lot of spark. It also forges a very fierce but powerful link to Pluto. So the energy that you manifest to drive this forwards could come from the depths of you, but you could surprise people by how much passion and conviction you show to get what you need to protect you, because Mars in the 4th house is very protective. It can be a little defensive. But then on the 21st, we have the full moon. If you recall, we had across 21, 22 last month, but that one was snared by Neptune. This one's supported by Neptune and Uranus. There could be an exciting conversation. I feel that people want to spend time with you. You may be or may have been resisting this, maybe because of Pluto being in the 12th house. Maybe it's more historical because, of course, before Pluto, Saturn was in your 12th house. So the last few years has seen you perhaps a little cautious about your interactions socially. And then with Pluto being in your 11th house since 2008, it's possible that you've been very picky about the kind of friendships and connections that you've had. So if you have an opportunity to connect with someone, it's perhaps worth going for. And it may be that someone in a very ordinary situation can just bump into you and get chatting and say, well, do you want to go for a drink? Be open to it. Why not? The sun moves into Leo on the 22nd. The sun loves Leo. It rules this sign, of course. This is great for your vitality. But if there are some psychological things that you've had going on, for example, if your health and general energy have been lower than ideal, what Pluto's saying in its opposition with the sun is don't discount that. Don't feel too proud to understand we all have a shadow side. We all have a past. We all have a subconscious that's hard to read and understand. And again, because you spend so much time supporting others, are you ignoring or neglecting your needs, be they physical or emotional? That's what that Sun-Pluto opposition asks of you. But then on the 25th, Mercury moves into your opposite sign. If you need to talk to someone about your situation, it's going to be a conversation that can flow beautifully. But the Sun forges such an amazing link to Mars at the end of this month. Your motivation to get the practicalities in your life working well can be enormous. So if there has been that logjam in that home improvement scheme, it will be resolved at this point. And it can be like whoosh, whether it's refitting the kitchen, redecorating, pulling up some old carpet and getting your floors all buffed up with a sander, that kind of deep stuff that gives you a real sense of satisfaction. If you're someone who enjoys upcycling or going to charity shops and snaffling some lovely old items, all of that stuff can come to the fore as this month draws to a close. But it starts this month in such a charismatic way, it just does get a bit more practical and a bit more psychological as it goes on, with the reminder for you to find that place where you can be caring to others, do your job with that dedication and going way beyond where most people go. But Mars is kind of saying to you, look, there is a limit to how much you can give. Make sure you set your boundaries a little higher because people will respect you more. They really will. And by the end of this month, focus on your welfare. And that is the perfect way to surf July for you. Have a great month. If you've yet to subscribe, please do so now.